Hello, everyone. I am coming on here to do a video of my listing presentation. It is so important to practice this and be prepared to go on a presentation. And I figured it would be great to have this all in one video, me going through from beginning to end, what I say, what I talk about, what I do. First things first, when we're starting this, when you get the appointment, I think you want to set a precedent and set a level of professionalism by providing a calendar invite. So I always ask the seller, hey, would it be helpful if I send you a calendar invite? My calendar runs my life, so I thought that might be helpful to send you one. A lot of times they say yes, then I have their email address and I can send it to them. Second thing, you want to be on time. That is setting a level of professionalism. So usually what I do, you have to watch out for Atlanta traffic. I try to get to the area at least 10 to 15 minutes early. I'll sit in my car, I'll go through my presentation again while I'm waiting, like I'll wait at the pool in the community or somewhere close to the house, and I'll walk through the comps again from the car just so that I'm prepared and I want to be there on time. When you get there, go up to the door, knock on the door, and be friendly, be excited, be kind. The first thing that I always do, and I always ask a seller, it doesn't matter if what they're doing, I just think it's the right thing to do is, hey, would you like me to take my shoes off? Right? You want to ensure it's their home. So you want to make sure that you are making them comfortable. So I always ask, would you like me to take my shoes off? If they say it's fine to keep them on, then I will. But I always ask that question. Then I'll ask them, hey, can you take me around your home? Show me around. I would love to see it. As we're going around the home, I am pointing out positive things. You can always find something positive in a home. Like, oh wow, the rooms are so big. There's so much space. What a great layout. You want to point out positives, you want to build them up. Remember, if they've lived in this home, this is an emotional process for them and they've loved the time a lot of times that they've been here. So you want to be positive in talking about their home. So I'll have them show me around, tell me a little about the property, tell me a little about what you've done to update the home. And then once we finish that, we will sit down, usually at the dining room or the kitchen table. Excuse me. And we will go through my presentation. So one other thing, we do want to have all the decision makers at the appointment. So everyone that is on the title of the property, if it's multiple people, we would like to have both of them there. All right, so once we sit down at the table, I'm going to walk through my listing presentation. This is the first step. So let me share my screen and we will go through it like I would go through it with a seller. Okay. There we go. All right, we've got the listing presentation here. We usually sit down. I will do another video going over exactly what I bring and how we prepare that, but this is the listing presentation. So we'll sit down at the table and here we go. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Buyer, for allowing me to come over and show you what I do different from other agents. Um, I really appreciate this opportunity. Okay, so I'm not going to go through every single page here. I don't want to bore you. I'm going to hit the highlights, and this will be for you if you want to read in more detail. A little about me. I've been a full-time real estate agent. This is my ninth year in real estate, and I'm 95% referral based. 7 years now as an ARA top producer, and I've sold many, many homes. The one big thing and really important thing to look at is the company that I'm with. I'm with Keller Williams, and this chart here comes from the stats that we do. My office does stats every quarter. This is from the last quarter that we have available, which is Q4 of 2024. And what this shows you is that over 18% of the market share in Metro Atlanta was uh, handled by Keller Williams. That's more than double the closest competition. And that's huge because we are doing the most business here in Metro Atlanta. And it's important to be associated with a company that knows how to sell your home. Okay. Our commitment to you, I'm dedicated to service. This process, this is really all about you. I'm just here to facilitate and make this transition as simple as possible. So I'm from New York originally, so I'm honest and straightforward, and I hope that's okay to be because I'm not going to tell you things that aren't true because I believe in integrity. And I'm on your side. I represent you, and we have a common goal to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. The other piece is sustained communication. I feel like communication is so important in this process. So I do like to understand your preferred form of communication. Would you prefer to uh, text, calls, emails, whatever makes sense for you? I am always transparent at what is happening in the process, and we will go over that more as we go through this presentation. The big thing is pricing. Pricing is going to be very important because we want to position ourselves on the market so that we are attractive to the buyers. As I mentioned, the big thing that my office does is we provide stats quarterly on the actual market here. And what I have here is Q4 of 2024 stats. And this is for all of Metro Atlanta, this top chart. So the median days on market when priced right the first time, meaning they didn't have to have a price reduction, is 13 days on market, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's still pretty quick. And our goal is to get you the most amount of money, and we want to be in the market. Only 30% of the listings were in the market, meaning they sold. 29% chased the market, meaning they had to reduce it to get it to a point that someone was willing to make an offer. And then we had 41% of the listings, they were out of the market. They expired and they never sold. And I know we don't want to do all this work and get this home on the market and ready to go and go through showings for you not to sell. So that's why pricing is going to be really important. And we will go over comparable properties at the end of this presentation so that we can talk about where I believe and where you think it should be listed so that we can appeal to the most amount of people and get this sold the first time. The other piece I want to look at, and this is really important, is we're able to pull stats based on your area. So this area is East Paulding, and in your selected price range, we're between 300 and 500,000. We're in that range. Now, looking at just that piece of the market based on Q4 of 2024, there was 136 closings. And if we had no price reduction and it wasn't previously listed, which you haven't had your property listed before, then the expectation is we should get 100% of the sales price to the original list price, meaning we should get 100% of the price that we list it for. And the median days on market for your area is 16. So a little higher than the total Metro Atlanta, but still great. I mean, a little over half a month. That is a really quick sale. Now, I will say in our current market now and what we're seeing in the new year, things have been taking a little longer to sell. There is a lot of uncertainty with what's going on in the economy. So I would expect it to be slightly longer than this just because we have to remember that the market is a live animal. It's always moving and changing. So as your real estate agent, I am always looking at that so that we can pivot and that we are fully aware of what the market is currently doing. So I think we could get something close to this if we price correctly. One other thing that I like to point out, there's really three factors that sell a home: location, price, condition. You can only change two. You can only change the price and you can only change the condition. The good news is you're in a great location, close to so many things, close to the highway. You're close to stores and restaurants, so it's super convenient, and you're in a beautiful neighborhood. So I'm not worried about location. We will talk about price, and then we will talk about condition and what you can do to get your home ready for the market. All right. And what's really important, you know, and what I like to focus on is what are we doing as a real estate team and as real estate agents to get your property sold? We do want to have the home show in its best light. So there will be things that I suggest for you to do to get it ready for the market. The big thing that I always say is how we list and how we live are two different things. Personally, my home is not ready to go on the market today. There are things that I would have to do to get it prepared because we wanted to appeal to the most number of people possible. And while I love color, not everybody does. So big things to hit on is going to be first impressions, curb appeal, as they walk in the home. The other thing that I always look for when I rang the doorbell today, I was standing out there and I was looking around, seeing if there was any little work that needed to be done because agents are going to be showing your property with their client. As the agent's fumbling with that lockbox, their client's going to be going like this, looking all around. So, I do the same thing because I want to look at your home from the eyes of a buyer. One of the biggest and best ways to have your home show best is to have it super, super clean. Um, the other big thing is there may be a few repairs that we want to do, and we will go over this at the end of the presentation and walk around and put a plan together for you to get it ready. The other huge thing when we come to first impressions is professional photography. We want to ensure that we get people in the door. So I am not taking iPhone pictures. I am hiring a professional. This is something that I pay for. And we're going to have the photographer come out. And the best part is they take all their pictures in 3 exposures. And what that means is they take it in a bright, a medium, and a dark exposure. And what happens is, if you take a picture in here and it's a sunny day, you're going to get a glare out that window. With these 3 exposures, it's going to ensure that none of that happens. We're going to a computer system fuses those together so that it's light and bright in every picture. You can see through and out the windows perfectly, and it just looks ideal. It's also shot with those wide angle lenses. And one thing that I do different from other agents is I come to the photos. Sure, I could send my photographer and that would be great. However, I think it's important, and where my value add is in marketing your property is ensuring we get the right photos and we don't get certain photos. This is an emotional process for buyers, and we want to ensure that we get them in the door. So I had a listing once, and it backed up to industrial. So we took the photos in a way of the backyard so that we didn't see that industrial because I wanted to ensure that I got the people into the home. And a lot of people, if they saw that online, they may be like, I don't want to see it. But if I can get them into your house, that emotions take over. And if they love everything else, they can get past that one negative. So that's something that's very important to me. I do come to the photos to ensure that we are getting the right things and leaving out the maybe somewhat negative things of your property. Another thing, so you're going to get 30 professional edited photos, and then we're going to do a 60-second marketing video. This is a professional video. I'm not taking it with my iPhone. I'm having my photographer take a video because, as you may know, video is huge right now. This will allow us to market it in the right ways, social media, online, and we'll go over how we use that video throughout our marketing plan. The last piece is I'm going to have drone photography as well. It's nice to show the yard, show what's around, and it just shows the house in its best light. All right, this is key. The marketing blitz. We want to get the home out to everyone and anyone that is looking for a property. And we want to get it in front of them and have it show in its best light so we can get them in the door. So the big thing is you will get a unique property website. And on this website, we'll have all the details of the property. Plus, that video that we took, that professional video, will be right at the top of the website. This is used in all our marketing material. We also send the website to you so that you can post it on your social media, because a lot of times you may have people in your world or people that follow you that may know someone that's trying to get into this great neighborhood. Um, like I said, that property video, and then we're going to do a targeted email campaign. What's great is I have access to over 6,000 agents and I can email them directly. What we'll do is if we have the time, we will get our pictures done a week prior to listing. We'll do a coming soon email campaign. And then when we go to list, we'll do a just listed and open house email to all these agents. This is direct marketing to them. The other piece is, as you know, social media is huge right now. So we're going to have the videos on social media plus boosted ads. So I do pay to boost the ads. And the cool part about Instagram and Facebook is they are using the cache data on people's phones and computers to see that they are searching on realtor.com or Zillow and they're looking for homes. We can put in, when we're doing the boosted ad, real estate. And so it's directing our boosted social media posts to people that are looking at real estate on a regular basis. So we're getting in front of the right audience. We also will do direct marketing to the Rawls group. So my office is associated with 4 other offices, which make up the Rawls group of 5 offices. The amazing part is my office alone does $1 billion in volume each year, which is just crazy, but it's a lot of business. Now, between those 5 offices, we have over 2,000 agents that are doing a ton of business around Metro Atlanta. So I'm able to market directly towards them to get your property the most exposure. We will do a neighborhood open house invite, and I'll go over that a little later in the presentation. You will have a wood for sale sign and some more things that we'll talk about, like my print marketing. Our exposure. This is really important. If you are interviewing other agents, you do want to ensure that they're listing both on FMLS and Georgia MLS. In Metro Atlanta, we have 2 MLSs. These are both of them. There are some brokerages that are cheap and they only list on one. Again, we want that extended exposure to everyone and anyone that is looking for properties. So we ensure that it's listed on both. And then from there, we are going to push it to over 350 other websites. So that's going to be on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Homes.com, so many other ones, Redfin, Coldwell Banker, all of these websites, so that anyone looking in your area in the budget is going to see this property. This is a little more about social media. Like I said, this is huge right now, as you know, so we do push it on social media. The thing that I do different from other agents is I also list your property on Facebook Marketplace. I've been surprised by the number of people that are looking and searching there, because most people I thought were just using Zillow and Realtor.com, but I actually get a lot of interest from Facebook Marketplace. And I think the big thing is they already have the user base. So we don't want to miss that opportunity as well. So it will be listed there. The goal is going to be to list the property on Thursday. Well, sorry, let me back up. Ideally, we will get pictures done the week before, go coming soon on Monday. This gives me time to get the marketing material together that I'll go over next. And then we go live on Thursday. And then we do an open house Saturday and Sunday. Open houses are really to get the activity, get as many people through as possible. With our exposure, everybody's going to see that. And if we can get a really good turnout, it can build up the excitement and show potential buyers that, hey, like there's a lot of people here. We need to be quick in making an offer on this property. So we will do directionals, and then we will do the neighborhood door hangers, which I'll go over next. And here's that. So what we have here. Okay, so First thing is we will have custom property flyers in your home. We want to ensure that people have a takeaway, right? Because they might go see 4 or 5 homes in the same day. They all start to blend into one. So we will have a flyer that has the pictures, it has a QR code and a link to the website so they can go see that great video that we shot and have all the information there and all the pictures. But we want them to have that takeaway. We'll also do a custom home binder. On that binder, the first thing is we have the QR code on the front so they can scan it and they can see that unique property website that's got the video on there. Additionally, it's going to have some information about the area. So it's going to have information on conveniences like gyms, pharmacies, grocery stores, the schools in the area, also things to do outdoors, plus neighborhood eats. I also love my clients to put together a list of notable features and upgrades. Well, I do the notable features, but upgrades. So if you've done any work on the home, we want to highlight that in this binder so that we can show people that, there's been a lot of things that have been completed. So I will ask for you to put that together. Additionally, I love to pull on the heartstrings of buyers. This is an emotional process for most people. So I always like to do a page of why did you love to live in the home? You can just send it to me as an email and we'll put it in here because, it is an emotional process to purchase a home and live in it. So I do like to do that just to show them that this is a great place to be. Last thing we'll have in there is the disclosures. So we'll have the community association disclosure, which I'll go over at the end of this presentation, and the seller's property disclosure, just so it's easily accessible for the agents and the buyers as they come through. The last piece that we have in regards to our print marketing is I do custom door hangers. So what I like to do is do door hangers on all the doors in the neighborhood. And what it's doing, and we'll put these out on Friday. So like I said, list on Thursday, put the door hangers out on Friday. And on this door hanger, it has the QR code to the website again, so that they can see all that information. Additionally, it says on there, so, the information about our open house. So Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 4. Do you know anybody looking to move into the neighborhood? Maybe you can pick your new neighbor, invite them to our open house. So this is a great way because sometimes neighbors that have lived here for a while, they have friends, they have family that want to get into a great neighborhood like this. So we do like to do that. The big thing that I do different from other agents is this proactive prospecting. I'm not the agent that just sticks the sign in the yard and then prays that someone comes and makes an offer. No, we're actively looking for your buyer. And how we do that is, and the biggest piece is what's called reverse prospecting. So on the MLS, I can see any time an agent sends the property to a buyer. I can also see if they heart that property, meaning they liked it, and I have the contact information for the agent. So what we do is when we list on Thursday, or when we go coming soon, and then we list on Thursday, I can see that the property's been sent to agents. And so what I like to do is on Friday, I send an email to all those agents inviting their clients to our open house. I also provide the link to the website so they can share it with their client. And then I additionally do this as a text message. We want to ensure that we're getting in front of these agents and we're ensuring that they're seeing the property. This is another way of doing that. Additionally, like I do continue to do reverse prospecting throughout the time that the home's on the market. A lot of times I'll reach out to agents and I'll let them know, hey, I saw that your client may be a match for our property. I wanted to let you know that we are offering buyer agent compensation if we decide to do that. As you know, compensation is negotiable, but I do put it in there if we are offering it. Additionally, I provide the website and I'll let them know, hey, if you're not able to show the property, I have showing assistance that I can get so that can come and let your client into the home so that they can see it in a timely manner. Let me know if you'd like me to set up a showing for them. The last piece of this is from our showings, I want to ensure that we get feedback from the agents and the buyers that are coming. Buyers that are coming with real estate agents are going to be pre-approved. They're going to be looking at other homes in this budget, and they're our true source of feedback and what they think. At the end of the day, your property is only worth what a buyer's willing to pay on the open market. So it's really important for us to understand what actual buyers think about your property. So, most agents, what they do is they allow the automated system to send an email to the agent that showed the property and ask for feedback. 99% of agents do not fill this information out. We go the extra mile, and I'm going to be calling and texting those agents for feedback so that we can understand what their buyers thought and also answer any questions that they may have. Sometimes we need to pivot based on that feedback if we get continued like the same thing over and over again. For example, and your home doesn't have this issue, but I had a house once and it smelled like dog. And we kept getting that feedback. So, we wanted to ensure that wouldn't be an issue. So we came through, we had the carpets cleaned, we had the ducts cleaned, and then it fixed that issue. So if we're getting something that's negative, that's easy for us to change, then we can do that. We can pivot so that we can appeal to the most number of people. Any questions so far on what we're going to do for you? The rest of this is for you about showings. What else about the feedback and more information. What I'd like to go over next is the comparable properties in your area. Do you have a price in mind for your home? Okay. Based on what I'm looking at, I want to just explain what we do. We look at, hold on, let me pull this up. So I did a deep dive on the active properties, the under contract and pending properties, and the closed properties. And I just like to explain this a little. So closed properties, those are properties that sold and what people were actually willing to pay on the market. We look back 6 months at those properties to get a gauge of where we should list. Our under contract and pending properties, those are our best comps because those are most recent. They haven't closed yet. And on the MLS, we can't see on the MLS what they closed for. We can see the price that it was listed for, but we can't see what it closed for until it closes. So we don't know what it's under contract for. However, what I did was I called all those listing agents and buyer's agents and I asked them what it was under contract for. So we have this understanding. So we'll talk about that. And then we do want to take into account our active properties. Active properties are really important because they're our competition. So what I did before this appointment is I went and I previewed some of the active properties so that I had a full understanding of, what they look like and how we are going to stack up against them. Pictures can tell me one thing, going inside those homes, that really tells me the true story around it. But we want to ensure that, if someone's making a purchase in this budget, what else are they going to go look at? What other homes in the area and do we compare? Are we better? Are we priced better for like more of an opportunity for that buyer? Or are we going to be priced too high? So that is huge. So here I put together some comparable properties. The big thing is in your area, you have new construction that you're competing against. So we do want to understand the incentives that they're offering because it's not just about price. A lot of these new construction are offering lower interest rates and seller paid closing costs. So while the price may be more, they might have offered, 10 to 20,000 in incentives that changes that economic model for a buyer. The closest property to yours that I saw that was the most recent sale was this 779 Ivy Chase Loop. This closed for $355,000. Additionally, I did look and it doesn't show it here, but they also paid $12,000 and seller paid closing costs. So, yeah, and we want to look at net because that's what the seller got in their pocket. So, um, so that's really 343 that they got. Um, this home has 4 bedrooms and 3 full baths, so it's similar to yours. And here's some of the pictures. What do you think? How does this compare to your property? This does have a more updated kitchen with the granite countertops and a newer backsplash and all stainless steel appliances. They also have no carpet on the main floor, which I will say like does appeal to buyers. Upstairs, they've got a bonus area just like yours. The bathrooms are pretty builder grade, but as you can see, they took really nice professional pictures. And the property is pretty appealing. It's not too um, trendy or too personalized. And it does have a nice fenced backyard. So pause here. What I do really is go through the comps, the main ones. I have a ton. I don't go through every single one. I hit the highlights. And then I also say this. So, based on this information, I think you should be listed around 325. Your home, while it's great, and it's beautiful, you do have not the most sorry. Uh, you do have carpet on the main floor. Um, your layout's not as open concept, and your kitchen doesn't have stainless steel appliances. You have linoleum in the kitchen. So, buyers are looking right now in the market, and based on this home is more updated. And I think at 325 will appeal to the right buyers and get this property sold for you. What I want to do is I will send you all the comps in an email so that you can look through them yourself. But how do you feel about that number? Now, I would love to get you 500 for the home. So at the end of the day, that benefits everyone. However, I just feel based on these comps that this is the right price and where buyers are going to see the value is. I hope this was helpful to show you how I go through my presentation, where I'm focused. From here, I have a homework sheet, and I will show you that. Oh, I'm sorry. The next step is we go through the the listing. I'm sorry, the exclusive seller brokerage agreement or the listing agreement. We go through it, and I will do another video on that. And then I go over the seller's homework. So let me share my screen one more time. Okay, seller's homework. So, hold on, I'm sharing the wrong screen. All right, seller homework. Okay, big thing for us to get started. What we're gonna need is a set of keys. You don't have gate in the community, so I'll cross that out. Alarm code. I see you have an alarm. The options are you can either turn it off when we have appointments. And since you're living in this home, what we would do for appointments is we're going to require 24 hours notice. So I'll let you know when we get an appointment, and you just let me know if that's something that you can accommodate. And if you want to give me the alarm code, I can send it to the agent to turn off, or you can turn it off because I know everybody has it on their phone now, so nowadays. Access information for the neighborhood amenities, pool, clubhouse, tennis courts, information from the HOA. The big thing for your HOA, you're a single family home. I don't need the financial statements or the board meeting minutes, but I do want the bylaws and covenants because we do want to understand the rent restrictions here if there are any. Do you know if your home can be rented? We want to understand this so that we can ensure that we market to everybody and anybody. So we can market to investors as well. Also, there's sometimes buyers that want to live in a property and um, have the option to rent in the future. So we just want to have an understanding because I will get questions on that. You have every right to this info. It may be in your portal where you make your HOA payment, or just reach out to your management company. Additionally, I'm going to need you to fill out the seller's property disclosure. This is going to talk about what we're including with the home, the, refrigerator, stove, microwave, also the age of the roof, the age of the hot water heater, and any updates that you've done. My whole rule about seller's property disclosure is I think over disclosing is best, because if you make it clear what's happened, then it's clear to the buyers that you have nothing to hide. I know you mentioned you had a leak. I saw that spot on the ceiling that you've cleaned up and fixed. I know we're going to paint before we list. The thing is, you definitely want to disclose that because there is a question about that, but it's not an issue because things happen with home ownership. And you had a little leak. That's not a problem. I've had one too in my home. And as long as we make it clear and that it was fixed, there's never an issue there. Additionally, with the washer and dryer, I wouldn't mark that it's staying with the property. I like to use the washer and dryer as a negotiating piece. So, once we go under contract, a buyer's going to do an inspection, and when they do the inspection, they may ask for repairs. What I like to do a lot of times, if the washer and dryer aren't included in the sale, is use that as a way to not have to do the repairs. Sometimes people ask for little things, and I talk to my clients, I'm like, hey, it'd be easier? What if we just give them the washer and dryer and call it a day? And that works sometimes. So I wouldn't mark that washer and dryer on there as staying, because I think it's a good way to use as a negotiation piece. The other thing is the community association disclosure. This is all about the HOA. So you will have to reach out to the HOA. And one thing that I want to point out is that on the second page, and I can pull it up to show y'all. Let me pull it up here. This will be easier. What you can do, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is you can fill these out by hand. And then that's usually the easiest at first. I can either pick them up when we come for pictures, or I can then send you a link after you fill them out by hand for you to put them in digitally. I think by hand is easier because if you have any questions, you can reach out to me and we can talk about them. Okay, here we go. Just want to show you one thing on the community association. On the second page of the community association disclosure, I always like to point out this one question. Number 5, transfer initiation and administrative fees. This is really important for you to ask the HOA if there's any of this, because if you put nothing here and there ends up being a fee, then you're going to pay it at closing. And I don't like my sellers to lose money. That really should be the buyer's responsibility. So as long as it's disclosed here, then the buyer will pay it. So just wanted to point that out to you. The last things is that list of improvements and just a little blurb on why you loved living in this home. So next steps. Next steps, we'll walk around the home and we're going to talk through what I think would be best to get it ready for market. As I mentioned, how we live and how we list are two different things. My home personally is not ready to be listed, and I would have to declutter a lot. We want the home to look as big as possible, so we do want to just start pre-packing. So I'm okay if you use the garage as a packing zone, a garage as a garage. But my rule of thumb is like, no things on the counter in the kitchen for photos. It'll make the kitchen look bigger. We're going to want to have the bookshelves pared down. We do want to take the personal pictures down in the home. Additionally, we want to pare back some of the furniture so it makes everything look bigger. The other piece is with closets, I say no stuff on the top, no stuff on the floor. And what this does is it allows people to, it, again, makes that closet look larger. But my worry is that when buyers come through, and my closets are currently packed right now, so this is nothing personal. I just want to make that clear. But when buyers come through, if they see a packed closet, they might think in their mind, oh my gosh, is there going to be enough room for my stuff here? Is this not big enough? Is this not the right place? They seem to have filled it up. So I do think it's important to do these things to get the home ready. Again, I hope this was helpful for you in going over the listing presentation. It is key. The key takeaways that I want you to have is you need to show your value. So tangible items on what you're going to do to get this home sold. And that's why that marketing blitz is the main piece that I go over and why I'm offering tangible things like professional photography, videography, drone, unique property website, 6 emails to over 6,000 agents, the marketing material in the home, like the home binder. I don't know if it's going to let me do this because I have it on. But the home binder, this is really important. The door hangers, those are all tangible items that will make you stand out from other agents. I've got more things coming, so stay tuned for more videos on how to be the best agent that you can be.